of the times. In today's chess video, guys, if you want to become a better chess player, then there are some general principles and guidelines that can really help you in your games. These are the basic rules and ideas which work 90% of the times. In today's chess video, I'll show you the top 50 chess principles to play smarter moves and eventually win more games. Before we begin, I would like to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Alright, principle number 1, control the center. This is probably the most common principle of chess. See, these 4 central squares are very important as they allow more mobility of your pieces. Therefore, you always have a better chance of winning if you grab the center immediately rather than someone who's just making a lot of moves on the side. Principle number 2, develop quickly. Development in chess is nothing but bringing your pieces into better positions like we've done here for the knights and the bishops. By doing this, you have a better chance of attacking and winning the game. So that's again a good principle to follow. Principle number 3, avoid unnecessary pawn moves in the opening. Generally speaking, you must not make random pawn moves like these, especially in the opening. You simply waste a move and this allows your opponent additional time to develop his pieces and gain central control. So this is something you want to avoid. Principle number 4, if possible, develop with tempo. It's always a good idea to develop with tempo, which means you not only improve the positioning of your pieces, but also attack the opponent with the same move. Threatening the opponent's pieces will force him to take defensive action rather than continuing his own development. So try to develop your pieces with tempo. Principle number 5, knights before bishops. When developing your pieces, it's generally better to bring out your knights before the bishops because the knights generally occupy these 2 squares in the opening, so it's quite straightforward. Whereas the bishops have a lot more options along these diagonals. Therefore, it's better to position them later depending on how you want to play the game. So develop the knights before the bishops. Principle number 6, don't move the same piece twice in the opening. Look, if you keep moving the same piece again and again, you're just wasting time. All your other pieces are stuck on the back rank and your opponent gets a huge lead in development. So that's something you definitely want to avoid. Principle number 7, avoid bringing out the queen too early. Since the queen is the strongest piece on the board, if you bring it out too soon, say something like this, it can easily be attacked by the opposing pieces. So what happens is you just keep moving your queen here and there and your opponent gets a big lead in development and you end up in a bad position. So don't bring out your queen too early. Principle number 8, castle quickly. It's generally advisable to castle as early as possible because your king is safe behind these pawns. And that's much better than being stuck in the middle where your opponent can attack your king. So castle as soon as possible. Principle number 9, avoid moving pawns in front of your castled king. Once you've castled, these pawns become very important because they keep your king safe. If you move them, you create these weaknesses which can easily be exploited by your opponent. So avoid moving these pawns unless you have a good reason. Principle number 10. Don't open the center if your king is not castled. If your king is stuck in the center of the board, it's generally not a good idea to open up the center. Say for example, if you play d4, pawn takes, knight takes, and rook e8 puts a lot of pressure on your king. This is something you want to avoid, so it's better you castle first and then play d4. Guys, we've covered 10 principles, and if you've enjoyed the video so far, the like button below this video right now.